Hi, welcome. It's time for part 3 of today's campaign update, and this is the state of the world. I am Susan Maud Buchser-Lochocki, a presidential candidate from the 2024 presidential election, and in fact, I'm still a candidate. I have not conceded because there is a lot of corruption in the election system in the USA. The Democrats and Republicans are responsible, and it's unacceptable. So I have a lawsuit pending with the Supreme Court, and I hope to hear from them soon. But until then, I'm here, and things are happening. So we got some big problems, and I think some big news is coming. But it is Wrongfully Incarcerated Awareness Day. And it's the international one, so it's for the whole world. So I'm going to talk on that right now with you and share my thoughts about some people who are wrongfully incarcerated. Incarceration can come in many forms, and oftentimes it comes in a form called marriage, where two people are supposed to stay together for life, possibly. It depends how seriously you believe in that concept, how seriously it is enforced. So sadly, there are lots of men who feel that it is their right to forcibly keep women in a marriage, and if a woman tries to leave, she will be killed. So this is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Marriage should not be a prison, but it's being used as that for many women currently, and it's unacceptable. So normally this day is about talking about people in physical prisons, so real prisons, but this is for the world, talking about women in these things called marriages that are traps, that are not this joyous place that everybody makes it out to be. And this is where we also need to free the wrongfully incarcerated women. Now, I'm going to say that there are some wrongfully incarcerated men who are stuck in marriages too, but that's very, very, very seldom. So we are not going to really talk about that. And if you are a man in that situation, then what I say will apply to you. No person should be bonded to another for life. Period. No. Life is long, and things happen. And some people make bad decisions, and one bad decision should not sentence you to a lifetime of torture and abuse. No. I don't care who you are or where you live, it's unacceptable. So first off, women need to have the right to get divorced, no matter what, at any time, for any reason. There's a lot of physical abuse, and then there's a lot of mental abuse. And mental abuse doesn't leave physical scars, so you can't see it. But it comes in taking down a person's ability to make choices, to removing their self-esteem, where they become the bad guy in every situation. And it's unacceptable. So if you are a woman and you feel you are wrongfully incarcerated in a marriage, get out. Find a way. I know it's not easy, but it's for the best. And especially if you have children with this person, you need to get out. before your children learn bad behavior. And they do see it. They do feel it. Yeah. Another trap is that Muslim men seem to think that women should be in control of their thoughts. That Muslim men have no control over their actions and their thoughts. And if they see a woman who is not in some sort of covering, that they can think and quite possibly act on anything they're thinking about. And this is unacceptable. You are an adult man, and you need to be in control of your adult thoughts. Just don't think them. It's as simple as that. Learn to control your thoughts. We women are not responsible for what you're thinking. And if it's so difficult that you cannot control your thoughts, you need to seek psychiatric help. Because there are plenty of women all day long who walk around in many countries wearing very little clothes, some of them even in bikinis. And even in like the wooded areas in backward times, in some of these Aboriginal cultures that are far removed from modern world, they walk around with hardly any clothes on, some of them, and yet the women are not being raped and attacked and murdered every day. So if your religion is telling you that women have to wear certain clothes because men can't control themselves, that's a lie. It's a straight out lie. And putting a woman in some of these outfits, forcing her to wear it. I mean, if she wants to wear it, that's one thing. But forcing her to wear it and threatening her life if she doesn't is wrongful incarceration. Because we are not responsible for your thoughts. With that said, ladies, I don't recommend that on all the streets of every country that you should run around in hardly any clothing. I don't think that's a good idea either. And if you're out with your boyfriend or your husband, you don't want him to be having to be your bodyguard. So save the really beautiful, sexy things for home. And wear beautiful things that bring on adoration, admiration to you, that show you are a gem. Wear those things out. Because you don't want your husband or your boyfriend or your father to be your bodyguard. Because there are stupid men out there who seem to think that they don't have to be responsible for their actions. And this is unacceptable. So, I just proved that it is possible for women to be walking around in hardly any clothes, because like I said, in these cultures that are way back in, forest living, Stone Age type things, the women aren't wearing many clothes and they're being respected in their culture. So shame on you, Muslim men, for saying that women need to wear these things. They don't. You need to be responsible. You need to control your ideas and your thoughts. And what you do is if something bad comes into your head, you make it small and really small until it's almost just a dot of a pen, and then toss it aside and replace it with something better, like a flower, like a lotus, open, and that woman's face inside. She is a flower, and you don't have the right to pluck her. Got it? Good. So we women need to be broken out of our prison. And to do that means that we need a salary to be mothers. Because right now we're trapped in this weird world where some countries help us, some don't, and men aren't earning what they used to, so a lot of women are really going into poverty and being stuck with these men who are irresponsible. I mean, men, you need to grow up, period. It's time to grow up and get responsible. I've had enough, and I know a lot of other women have too. So we need lots of work, but women need to be paid to be mothers. And it needs to be paid and trained before day one, before that baby arrives. So I have a whole apprenticeship program concept made out to get women ready for being a mother. And then they get a really good salary at the beginning, and then slowly after 5 years it'll go down a little bit, because after 5 years the children don't need so much attention. But then if you have another one, then it'll pop back up. And then you'll be making some good money during the hard parenting time, during the early motherhood time, where it's just sheer exhaustion. But it's wonderful exhaustion. So it is time to pay women for their important work. We are no longer doing it for free. And beating us and abusing us is not part of the deal. And in fact, I don't really think that mothers should hook up with any one man, because then men get possessive and then it gets ugly. So later, if you decide that you want to be a wife, then by all means be a wife. But there's also other things to be. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, or you could be a politician or a stateswoman. You know, we need good people in government. And so I highly recommend you spend your mothering time being a mother. Technically, you don't really need a man anyways. And then, you know, at some point, if you want to be a wife, then be a wife. But you don't have to. It's not an obligation. And that way, you're free then to decide when you should have more children and with whom you should have them with. So I think, you know, we need to really rethink this whole marriage concept. It doesn't work for women, and it locks women into a abusive relationship. And children also get locked in. And that's why we hear so many stories of men going out and killing their whole family and then killing themselves. Because I don't know why. They've flipped their lid. This domination, possessiveness has taken over, and they feel they have the right to take their wife and their children's lives. And this is unacceptable. So men, you need to get a grip on yourself, and maybe once you start behaving better, we can reconcept this marriage concept. But until then, women, we don't need men to raise children. We need a salary, and we need support. And that can come from the government, which they want good citizens, right? So it would be a win-win for everybody. You're in charge of your fertility and your job of being a mother, because it is a job. Men can go off and do whatever they want to do, which they're going to do anyways, so let them do it. And if they ever decide to settle down and be normal, then they're welcome back, possibly. But we don't need to connect being a wife and being a mother. It's not the same job. Being a wife is something else, and yes, there might be women who just want to be a wife. And there might be women who never want to be a wife. And that's also okay. So, and it also relieves men of having that burden of being a husband, being the sole breadwinner. Now you can just look out for yourself. You're out of your prison too. I don't know who came up with that concept, but it's not a good one. And I want to also report that if you do fall in love, and it's not 100% necessary to fall in love, but if you do, it could be that it only lasts a while. And then you could have many loves in your life. Now, I know that there are some men who have taken this to extremes and had, 300 girlfriends and all this sort of stuff. This is also abuse and unacceptable. So toxic extremes on any side is not good. And there probably are women who are also toxic. So, we don't want extremes because that leads to toxicity and abuse. And could be even death. So let's not do that. But let's rethink this whole concept of love, family, community. I think that's what we really need to focus on, the village. And working together but separate. It's a win-win for everybody. So, it's time to free the final slaves, called the women, called the mothers, called the wives. It's time to get paid for our important work of being mothers and being eventual grandmothers and caregivers. And there's going to be a whole program around it. It's just time. So that's my report for today. The state of the world is that currently motherhood results in a decline in your career and can also lead directly to poverty. So this is not what we want for our most precious people who give birth to people and who nurture and raise people. That's not what we want for them. So governments, leaders around the world, it's time to step up and take care of your people. Take care of your women. Take care of your mothers. Okay. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Find out more at susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, usa.com. And I wish you a good day wherever you are. Bye for now.